Okay, well, another year has come to a close, and 2025 was a pretty good year for gaming. Ended up playing about 38 different games. I think like most people only play like 4 or 5. And we had a good mix of new games and some old games I went back and visited. Let's just go ahead and start from the bottom. Uh, Never mind that off to the left. We'll get to that eventually. D tier has Crisis 2 and Crisis 3. I went into the Crisis series not really sure what to expect, and what I got from 2 and 3 were both very confusing games. Like, the story was just so odd and nonsensical, and like the gameplay it was fine, I guess, but it was so bizarre. Like what I had in my mind for what Crisis was versus what I played. We'll go ahead and just reveal the C tier, and like I said, we'll get to the elephant in the room. Don't worry. Let's go right to left. Crisis and Crisis Warhead. Yeah, like I said, they were both interesting games to play, but didn't really hold up to my expectations in 2025. I don't know what people were playing or expecting when they first came out. Maybe they were revolutionary, but that's just how I look at them. Have a Nice Death was an okay roguelite. I didn't go too in-depth with it because I felt like the runs were a little bit too samey from run to run. There wasn't enough roguelite variety. It's like I breezed through the first half and then I don't know. I didn't know what to expect from that. Metroid Prime 4. I kind of went more in depth with that on very recently with the end of that game. It suffered from a lot of different issues, mostly being like the turbulent development cycle, and it wasn't quite sure what it wanted to be. Ended up kind of just not being great at anything it tried to be. I mean, it still is a game that you can play from start to finish and, get stronger during, but it's a C. Same thing with, like, SpongeBob SquarePants, which is weird to say that they're both in the same tier, for obviously different reasons. Like, SpongeBob is a fine platformer. It's not super long. The reason it's actually this low is because it shipped with a season pass, and you don't need a platformer with a season pass, especially not launching with one. And obviously, okay, let's just move on. Silksong, I didn't finish it. I got bounced off it pretty hard. It was too hostile of game design for me, both with the enemy placement, with not giving you upgrades, with just how hostile the actual world was to navigate and move around in. There was not enough for me to latch onto, and the bosses took 45 minutes to an hour, and most of them were not worth doing. There was no good balance between optional stuff and required stuff, and that I felt like I was making any sort of decent progress. It was a constant uphill battle, and once you got up the hill, there was more hill. Okay. So, that's just how I felt about it. Gears of War Reloaded. It's Gears of War. I had fun with it. It was fun to check out the game that started it all. But what I didn't realize is it was just a port more or less, of they had done an HD version of Gears of War 1 a few years ago, and this was basically a port of that to the PlayStation. This was sort of like the definitive edition, I guess, but it's more or less just something they released already. You know, it's short, it's fun, but it just is what it is. Ruffy and the Riverside. Normally, you know, I've got a few indie games kind of low down, and that's not to punch down, but the story of this just couldn't keep my attention. And the gameplay, it had some alright platforming and puzzles, but it wasn't what I was expecting, to be sure. Zephyr, I feel kind of bad putting this down in C tier. It mostly suffered just because it just didn't have enough music. There were so many areas that were just dead silent to the point where I was going insane and had to play my own soundtrack. Beyond that, it was an alright platformer, or like Zelda-ish game, but the open world just had next to nothing in it, and the combat had nothing going for it. I know it was like Zelda and Sly Cooper and stuff, but I don't know. I don't even remember, like, the story of that game was so confusing that, like, you had to rescue your sister, but your sister, I don't even know if it's worth going into. It was so odd. South of Midnight, kinda, I feel kind of bad starting with all of these C tiers, but visually, it was interesting. Story-wise, I didn't really, like, resonate with it. It felt like characters just kind of did things. Like you were just sort of going along for the ride, and I don't know, the world of it could have been interesting, it just, I guess, wasn't for me. Hyper Light Breaker, I was sad to see down here. It shipped as this weird extraction shooter, and not really as much of a roguelite, and I mean, they've stopped development on it by now, which is rough. I think it could have maybe come back around into being a good roguelite, but I mean, I played solo, it wasn't really for me, and I guess it wasn't really much for many people. So yeah, that's a shame. But we can move on to B tier. Keep in mind, like, C is average game, it's okay. B is like, hey, this was pretty good. Maybe not amazing, but pretty good. I'll start on the right side again. Lost Judgment was not quite as strong as Judgment, but, you know, if you enjoyed the Yakuza games, it's good. Story was a bit more, like, out there compared to the first one. The first game had a lot more of a personal stakes angle to it, and this one, they refined the gameplay quite a bit more, but it still just had some quirks to it. Mad Max, I'm glad that I finally got around to playing it. It had some really good vehicle combat, and I enjoyed going through a lot of the optional content, just messing around in that world. Had a very nice, not overwhelming amount of stuff to do, but just the right amount of completionist for me. Infinite Warfare, I was surprised by. I don't think I was supposed to be as surprised by it as I was. It felt like a critique, or like, not even like a parody, but Yeah, man. I'm glad that I finally played it and experienced it, but oh boy, that is not how I expected that story to go. But with, you know, killing Mars and all that. Very strange, very interesting. Oh boy, how do I tackle this? You'll notice the B tier is pretty full. I'll just go left to right, top to bottom. Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip. Cute little fun game. Not a lot to say about it. Fun writing. Deltarune, chapters 3 and 4. Chapter 3 was really good. Chapter 4 kinda... Maybe because I played them back to back, I hardly remembered Chapter 4. Like, it did not have as much memorable bits to it as I was hoping it would. I can pretty vividly remember most of Chapter 3 with Tenna, but yeah, I'm looking forward to how the rest of the game shapes up, but I mean, it's still very good. It's a solid RPG, very, very good writing. I think I just put it in B tier because I lumped them both together and 4 was not as strong. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. I mean, it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. It's fun, it's solid, but it's not crazy amazing. Like, you either like it or you don't. Same with Once Upon a Katamari. I'm glad that we finally got a new Katamari after so long, and had a really good selection of both levels you had to do and optional levels and remixed objectives. It wasn't just gather up as much as you can, make as big a Katamari as you can. They had a good amount of challenges and like collect this specific item or only collect these amount of items, and like the online battle mode was unexpected, so fun. Doom the Dark Ages, I had some complaints about playing it. The story, the gameplay loop, I didn't like it quite as much as Eternal. I know Eternal was also very divisive, and this feels like it just kind of, I don't know, the level design, I think, killed the Dark Ages for me. It's still a solid game, but it's B tier. Lies of P Overture. It was more Lies of P. There were some fun weapons. Not as many bosses. I think there's only like 4 bosses. It was just a standalone DLC, but I just couldn't bring myself to put it in A tier. Elder Scrolls. I'm judging a game that came out 2006. It's fine. It didn't blow me away. I don't really know what else to say. Ending could have been better. I don't know why I'm like putting any more thought into it. It's good. I know it won the Game of the Year. Putting it in B tier is blasphemy, but the remaster itself probably could have been done a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe I'll play through Sky Oblivion and judge it again. Ninja Gaiden 4. I talked about it a lot when I was playing. Only having 4 weapons was kind of a killer for me. Not much enemy variety. Fairly short game. Writing wasn't that great. You're just kind of like going along. People don't talk to each other. Had a fun final boss, I guess. Better than the Ninja Gaiden 2 final boss. First Berserker. I could have put this in A tier, but again, I feel like enemy variety, the boss fight design, maybe it's just how I played, but I felt like the the build I locked myself into wasn't super engaging for gameplay. Like, it worked, got me through the bosses, but then, like, story-wise, kind of just fell flat on its face. Borderlands 4, gunplay was fun. It didn't really catch me with the story, or like how it was like laid out, because you could do it in any order you wanted, and because of that, it just sort of felt like 4 individual campaigns. It had 4 rising and falling actions instead of one overarching escalation and decline. It kind of suffered because of that, where the final boss was barely present. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Yeah, same tier as Ninja Gaiden 4. Some annoying level design, some gameplay elements that didn't age very well. I liked the weapon variety, but, you know, suffers from lack of enemy variety, and the final boss, well, some of the bosses were too easy, and then, actually most of them were too easy. I just need to go flawless, I guess. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Again, I put it in B tier because of its existence as a remaster. Story-wise and all that stuff, it's all great. It's all amazing to experience. But I just couldn't bring myself to put into A tier, considering it's just a remaster. Is it worth playing more than the original Vision? That's debatable. I don't know. I'd have to play the original Vision to know for sure. We're gonna go up to A tier, which, if B tier is, like, if you like it, you're gonna like it, A tier I can recommend more freely. Be like, hey, I can recommend you to play everything in this tier. You'll get something out of it. Balatro, I don't need to say much about Balatro. It's just a fun little game. I even played it over the holidays because you can just do whatever you want in it. It's just, it's got so many different, like, rule sets. It's got so much variety run to run. I don't need to say much about it. Hades 2, I think I also had this on my list last year because it was in early access. Much better in a lot of ways than Hades 1. It's basically just Hades 1, but more. I do have complaints about the weapons. How I didn't like a whole lot of them, but that might just be me. Kirby Air Riders, again, it's just such a simple little format for gameplay. It's just mindless, endless fun. Dispatch, story was really well written. Gameplay-wise, you know, it's a visual novel, more or less. You get some decisions. I don't know how much your choices ultimately matter, but it's fun to see, like, which ones you end up in the majority and minority of. Silent Hill F. Trying to think. It had a lot of different layers to it. I wasn't super happy with the ending, but I think, like, I watched all of the endings, and maybe I just need to watch another like video essay on it. But I think it was a solid entry into the Silent Hill series, of which I've played a total of one other game in. But it didn't just try to be more of Silent Hill 2. It did its own thing. Now, do I want the next one to also have, like, dodging and melee combat like that? I don't know. Like a devil trigger mode? I don't know. But it was fun to see what they tried out. Death Stranding 2, obviously, just, it's a whole mood if you like this kind of game. Story was very Kojima, almost too much Kojima. It's just a fun, I mean, not fun, but it's a cathartic sort of experience to, like, slowly tame the world around you and complete little mini objectives or figure out how to do as many orders at once. Night Rain, I technically haven't beaten because I didn't want to play solo, and my friend group kind of stopped playing it. But for how confused I was when it first got revealed as, like, a roguelite Elden Ring, I think they did it in a really good capacity. I mean, it's still getting updates. It really does feel like they saw all of the, like, random mods and the seamless multiplayer mods that people were making for Elden Ring, and they're like, hey, what if we did that in a real capacity? And they nailed it. Atomfall, very interesting game. It really feels like just a classic, like, early PC game. Like, you really choose your own adventure. Now, obviously, there are plenty of, like, there are established paths for you to take, but it feels like there's enough variety and enough endings and enough people to talk to that everyone's going to have a different experience playing through that game. Now, combat-wise, it was but I want to give it props for being such an interesting experience, especially in 2025. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Not a great Yakuza game because it's so silly. It's jumped the shark so much. But gameplay wise, I really enjoyed, like, the new spin they put on, like being able to jump, doing like summons. It functionally was like a real-time version of the Like a Dragon, the Ichiban games. There was so much just weird loadouts and upgrades and ships, and I'm glad that there was so much to it, and they kind of took a chance. And here we go. S rank. There's only a single game in S rank, and it's Skate Story by Sam Eng. Now, the reason I put it in S tier is because it's memorable. It's a game that I am going to remember for a while. Gameplay wise, you know, it didn't go too in depth, but the presentation, the music, the way your gameplay interacts with the world is going to stick with me for a while. So that's it. That's 2025 in review. I wish I could go in more depth for more of these games, but I mean, frankly, you could watch the final episode. I tend to give my thoughts a bit more fresh when I just finish them up. Sometimes I need more time to cook, more time to think, to, like, reflect on it at the end of the year here, see, like, what I actually remember. But overall, I think it was a pretty good year. Now, 2026 is going to be interesting because I'm going to be doing my Game of the Year, like, review, like, first time playthroughs of a lot of different games. There were a few interesting ones shown off at the Game Awards this year that I'm looking forward to. And, yeah, I think 2026 will be pretty good. Obviously, everyone will be looking forward to GTA 6 at the tail end of the year, but I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you next time.